This guy right here, he worked up a big speech because a lot of these students, they just, this is their big moment to shine, right? They all have their phones out when it comes to trying to maybe disrupt or make the speaker feel bad or whatever it may be. This is their big moment to stand up to the man, to rage against the machine, even though they have little to no clue that they are the machine.
My question isn't specifically about anything you really said tonight, although I don't really agree with anything you said.
Okay.
I'm proudly part of the LGBTQ community. I've always stood up for my community whenever I needed to. I want to focus specifically on, I've been listening to you for a little bit just to understand some things. A live stream you did about Pride Month in June on Facebook because you were no longer allowed on YouTube. The event that you were talking about, I actually had the honor of attending that event with a lot of my really close friends, and I found it very perplexing to me how you choose to only focus on the things that are negative when it comes to the queer community.
Sorry, when it comes to what community?
The queer community.
Okay.
Do you not realize that people like you and people like the people you're around and that, you know, continue to have this idea of us are the reason we feel that we have to be so openly proud of who we are? Your demented homophobic and transphobic rhetoric and rants just further prove our point that we have to fight loudly to be respected. The reason that LGBTQIA plus suicide rates are so high in this country isn't just because we're part of the community.
Before he moves on to suicide rates, fight so hard to be accepted. Why, what does, so to be more accepted, you know, people that say that they're a part of the LGBTQ kind of, let's say, mob more so, because I know a lot of people don't consider themselves a part of that group, that activist kind of group. So they have to invite kids to drag shows. They have to invite kids to pride events where people are half naked or sometimes fully naked. Like, that's sticking it to the man right there. That's his point.
Community. It's because there are people like you who make us feel like we don't belong. The only LGBTQ agenda we have is
okay. Is there a question in there or a speech?
Yes.
You got to ask a question, buddy. I know you wrote this out in your notes, but ask a question. Let's go.
How do you think other people who, with your beliefs, respond to the fact that your hateful and harmful rhetoric costs the lives of queer children every single day, on average, every 45 seconds?
Okay, so this is just going to be a pure boogeyman. You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this.
Candace cuts this off right here on YouTube. We'll let it play. We'll let it play right now. It is on X. So let's go back to this.
You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this. When in reality, you want to talk about the tea. I sat down with a man named Walt Heyer who was convinced to chop his off after your community told him that there was something wrong with him because he had confusion. Why was he trans? Because he was when he was 4 years old by his uncle. Rather than being sat down and spoken to by a psychologist, he was handed hormone pills, and he eventually chopped off his penis. Walt Heyer is now 80 years old. He detransitioned, and he does a lot of work talking about why it is that he runs a charity, okay, an actual charity that is dedicated to sex change regret, of people who have changed their parts and can't go back. And you know what happens? Suicide rates go up after they transition. After they transition. And Candace Owens wasn't the one that chopped their off.
Mic drop. You can see, you know, he's got his big speech going. He says, how do you respond to the fact that because you push against a lot of the just insane, borderline evil stuff, right? Or I think you could very easily say that sterilizing children is probably pretty evil. How do you respond to criticizing against stuff like that? Or criticizing against inappropriate books in schools, or all of that is being responsible for suicide rates. He actually said that that's a fact as well, that people like her are causing that. He said that's a fact. What fact? Tell us. What's going on there? The most interesting part about this, once you look into it, and it's really gross and despicable for people to leverage somebody's issue with, you know, their mental health issues, them taking their own life, and you saying, it's because you said this book shouldn't be allowed in schools because it's inappropriate, and for some reason there's kids going at it, you know, with each other, and people want that in middle school. What's going on there? No, get it out. That is not the reason why somebody decides to take their own life. And for these people to leverage those deaths and to put that on you with literally no factual basis at all is just despicable. It's disgusting. And these people really just need to be put in their place. Candace did a fantastic response right there. She was talking more about the tea, and we can talk about that really quick. Once you look into this stuff, a lot of it just ends up being total BS. These are disgusting lies that they do to actually push their agenda. They leverage those deaths, those suicides, those murders, whatever it may be. They leverage those to push their agenda. So when it comes to people saying, oh, well, if you criticize that kids can't go on puberty blockers and then go on cross-sex hormones and then get surgical procedures, you criticizing that is creating more hate. And therefore there's they say it, it's their wording, right? They say trans genocide. And that's what they say, right? They say that there is a trans genocide happening in the United States.